Doing, Ross?
I'm good. I'm good.
It's good. It's
Okay.
good. Hi, Jay. How you doing?
Good.
Good. I love your idea about getting some of the Donegal fiddlers to try out the class. It'd be great fun.
Yeah. Well, I'll pass that along.
Yeah.
So would they just be able to, like, if I forward them the link to this meeting, they'd just be able to join in?
Absolutely.
And then after a lesson, they could decide whether they wish to carry on or not.
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
speaking of that, my sister Diana has paid my way for the first couple of lessons because she felt she owed me a favor. But for August, I'm going to pay you. So I just, do you have the details of how I pay you?
Yeah. If you can do Interact money transfer, that's the easiest way. Like email money transfer. You ever do that?
Yes, I do. So I just email it to your email address, and that's good enough, is it?
That's it. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. $80 for the month of August. That's all you got to do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a little hit and miss.
That's all right.
Things opening up. We've got a few places we're going, but I will send you some money for that.
That sounds great. And the nice thing is that, like, I'm going away too. I'm going away to Nova Scotia on August 4th. I can't wait. It's been, yeah. Hey, Janet, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Dan?
Great.
Hey,
Yes.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
we just booked a trip to Ireland.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, well, we're not going till next May.
Right. That's all right. Oh, that was a funny freezing screen there. Geez, I'm jealous.
If you go to Ireland,
Oh, there
You're
you go.
frozen on me. Oh, we're good now. Okay.
Okay.
if you're going to Ireland in May, we were there in May of several years ago, and they had a big festival, and I think it was Kilfenora.
Okay.
And I missed
County
it by.
second.
It's in Galway County.
Oh, wait. Okay.
And they had a big thing on the street where they tried to get the record for the most number of people playing the violin at one time, and I missed it. I missed it by a day.
Oh
The
my!
day after, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
awesome. That
I'm
reminds
sure that was Kilfenora.
Kilfenora. Well, that's Kilfenora, which is in County Galway. It's near Galway. Kilfenora
Okay.
is the birthplace of the Kilfenora Céilí Band, the longest running Céilí band in history. Over 100 years old. They started in 1916. Yeah. And I love them. Like, Céilí band music takes a little getting used to. It's the dance music they use for social dancing in Ireland, right? But the bands are very large, and they often have drummers and keyboard players and even tuba players sometimes. And it's very kind of, it's stately music. It's very esoteric, but I love it. I mean, I played in a Céilí band. I played in the Detroit Céilí band while I lived in Ohio, and we competed in the Fleadh twice. And it was really, really fun. And I play for Céilís here in Toronto too. But the Kilfenora Céilí Band, not only are they the longest running Céilí band in history, over 100 years, but also they have pumped out some of the best players in Irish music ever, who got their start young, playing the weekly Céilís with this band and traveling all over the place. So one of my favorites for sure.
That up. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're going on a vagabond tour, which is basically you're in this 4x4 and you do a lot of hiking and
Cool.
kayaking and bike riding, and we did the south already, so now we're going to do the north.
Oh, cool.
And then we're spending some time in Limerick because that's where a lot of my ancestors were from.
Oh, Limerick.
Yeah, the old homestead is there. Yeah, just outside of Dare. So yeah, we're going next May.
That's
Come here,
great.
high water. We're going.
That is great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Actually, we might cross paths because me and the boys, the North Atlantic Drift Boys, we went to Ireland. It was the summer before the pandemic, and we were in, well, it was in May, and we played a little festival in Donegal, and then we played a bunch of gigs in Sligo, where Brian is from, and then we went over to Dublin and played at the Cobblestone there, and then back over to Galway to play another show there. And it was such a blast, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, when we got to Donegal for the festival, we parked the car, and the car stayed there for 3 days. Like, it was just amazing. And it's funny because I got there very late because my flight to Dublin was canceled for United Airways, and it was really sucked. So I ended up on an Air France flight and another flight, and finally I get to Dublin, and then the boys meet me and we drive across the island to Donegal. We get there at like 11 o'clock, 12 at night, and the guy that owns the bar in the local village, he's like the guy putting the festival on, and he says, "Well, lads, I know it's very late, but there is something of a session happening at my bar right now. It's not so much what you're used to. You might hear a little bit of country music, but you're more than welcome. I've already locked the place in." Right?
Great.
So we went down there. Oh my God, what a night we had. It was all the local Irish people singing Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, and it was just a riot. And we didn't get back to our hotel until about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So the entire time we were in Ireland, we basically kept Toronto time.
Oh no! Well, I'll never forget. We flew with Aer Lingus. We went in the fall of 2018, and my husband made the mistake of taking a sleeping pill, thinking that it would let him sleep at night, which it didn't. And we imbibed a little too much beforehand and during the flight. And of course, there are probably a lot of Irish people returning, right? Because it's Aer Lingus.
Yes.
So we landed, and his family is all from Ireland as well. So we land in Ireland, and he stands up in the middle of the aisle, and he's 3 sheets to the wind, and he says, "I can't believe we're in Ireland." And everybody's just sort of looking at this guy going, "Who the hell is he?" 5:30 in the morning, the plane landed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to the records office, and he had a few hours sleep, and I got some stuff done, and he slept, and then it was great. It was an amazing trip. So.
Yeah, Limerick is a great place. There's great music in Limerick. My good friend Dennis Carey lives there, and so does Manus McGuire. Also lives close to there. Wicked fiddle player. So that's a great spot for music too.
Yeah, well, if we do cross paths, we'll have to certainly do a little bit of fiddling.
Absolutely, yes, that's great. So anyway, so we're reduced numbers tonight because a bunch of people are going to be not around, and that's fine because we just catch up on YouTube, no big deal. And hi there, Diana. And I thought we could do the Huntington Castle tonight. So I did send that to people, and I posted it on the YouTube. And it's beautiful, and it's been in my head there all week, so I thought that would be really fun to do. I would also like to work on the jigs that we learned, take them at a nice pace and see if we can get through them and speed them up a little bit maybe, and even put the odd flicky ornament in there or something like that. And also, I emailed out tonight the music for double stop practice. And I did it in 3 keys, D, G, and A, because I thought they would be the most used to start off with and give you a good grounding in that whole idea. So I thought maybe we could run up and down a G scale and arpeggio and then try a bit of double stop practice, okay? And I'm sure, because I mentioned it last time, and or the time before, so I'm sure people have been trying to play double stops on their own. And so I'm anxious to hear about your experience, see what's going well, and see what I might be able to help with in terms of getting your double stops working properly. All right? So that's the plan for tonight. Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Okay, well, why don't we start off with our G major? I'm just going to check my fiddle. Yes, Ross?
Can you put the music that I can't switch from here to email on my computer without everything crashing? So
No
could
problem.
you put it up at some point on the chat line when we get to that part of
I
the
will do that.
program?
I will do it
And then I
now.
can follow it along a bit, yeah.
Absolutely. So let's see. I got my sent. Double stop practice. Download that. Geez, I'm getting to be a computer expert. Like, by the time life comes back to normal, they're going to hire me at Apple, I swear to God, to teach them how to play the fiddle. I have one. What's that? Okay, so I've put it in the chat window there, Ross.
Okay, great.
Hopefully you can open that, and if not, I can share my screen, okay?
Okay.
Just let me know.
Great,
Yeah,
thanks, Dan.
no
Thanks.
problem, no problem. So I'm going to hit record here. Record to the cloud.
This meeting is being recorded.
I'm also going to mute everybody, and we're going to get started with our G major. Now, I will also tell you that I'm finally getting my bow rehaired. Thank God. I took it down last week, and dropped it off at Heinel. I'm supposed to pick it up today, but they happen to have my favorite bow of all time on the loaner rack there. She's never there because the classical guys are always using her. But it's a $12,000 bow. It's from France, from 1850, made by a family called the Lamy family. This is what it looks like here. It's a beautiful, gorgeous bow. You can tell it's French because how thin it is at the top. Look at the top of that bow. It's a tiny little toothpick size bow. See that? Now, if you compare that, this is my father's cheapie, and it's much more kind of clunky and cumbersome. See that? That's one of the things that, you know, with the nice bows, that's what the joke is at the music stores, that when you pay a lot of money for a bow, you get less bow. Because the maker has spent more time balancing it and removing material, right? Some of them work at it for like a year to get it right or more. So this one I love because the balance is so good. I can just drag this across the strings with a boxing glove on my hand. So reliable. That's what I love about it. And that's why when you get a nice bow, you're buying less work for your right hand. Okay? Anyway, there you go. So, let's see. G major. Hi, Simone. How you doing? Okay, so we're going to go play G major, the scale and the arpeggio. We'll do it twice like usual, and then double stop practice. Ready, and... Okay, arpeggio. Ready, and... Okay, now I'm not entirely happy with my fiddle. I'm just going to check the tuning on my fiddle quick, because it's not quite its normal effervescent self. And indeed it was sharp. That was flat. Now that's happy. That's much better. Okay, let's give it another go. Now you have an in-tune fiddle to tune to. A 1, 2, and here we go. Arpeggio, ready, ready, and... love this bow. Right on. All right. Simone's trying to get herself out of the sunspot there. I can see her kind of like, "Arr." Okay, so that's the arpeggio on the scale. Everybody feeling good? G major's getting better, feeling better, more reliable. That's great, very good. So now we're going to do the double stop practice, okay? Now I'm going to get it up on my computer here so I don't confuse anybody. Because there's so many possible, that's the thing. Like there's so many combinations that you can do in these keys, but I thought this would be the best way to get started with the whole idea.
Can you put this up on the screen? I couldn't get into the chat thing.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah.
Share screen. There we go. Oh, whoops. Where is it? There it is. Everybody see that okay? I'll make it bigger. Whew. Okay. Is that all right there? Good. Okay. So you can see we start off with our open G, okay? And then we play the B, and then we play the open D with it. That's going to be the next combination we do is B and D together, okay? And then the next arpeggio note that we play in the arpeggio is the D. So we play that, and I like to play it with an open G, okay? So it gives you really good practice with just those open strings rattling away together there. It's a little bit special touch. And then the next thing we do is the octave, which is G and G. So that's D3 and the open G string together, okay? And you can really tune an octave. Not hard to tune an octave. Then the last thing we do is the next thing we do is the third, which is the G on the D string and the B on the A string, because the B would be the next note in the arpeggio. And we use that G to harmonize with it, and that's a third. So that takes a little extra listening, because it could be major or minor. The next one we do is going to be probably the, let me see, oh no, I made a mistake. That should be an open D there. Sorry everybody. Let me just make a little mark here. Oh my God. Here it is. Okay, so that should be a D. Okay? That one there. So that's another octave. That's a D and a D. And then the last one we do in the arpeggio lineup is D and G. That's the fourth. And that's going to be the really challenging one for this set of arpeggios. And that's why I have it twice. So you do that at the top twice. And then you go back to the D and D, and I'll just make that note again. My God, one day I'll learn. There we go. I was just bragging about being a computer expert. Anyway, so that's that. And then we go back to the third. And then we go back to the octave. And then we go to this. And then the B. And then back to the open G. Okay, and that's going to give you a really good start with the arpeggios in this key. So why don't we have a crack at it? All right, we'll give it a try. So we'll do a good full bow for each note. We'll just go through them and then back down, because that's part of the reason we work on this, is to learn how to change your fingers kind of on the fly type of thing. And then we'll see how people get along. So we'll start with open G. All right, and I'll count us in to give us a bit of a timeline. 1, 2, 3, and B and D opens, and then 3 and open, and then we got the G and B, D and D. D and G. Another one of those. Open, D and D. B and G. Open and J. Open and open. G2 and open D. And then open. The end. Okay? And that's how we're going to work on these double stops. How does everybody feel about that? How did people get along doing that?
Terrible.
Terrible? What went wrong there, Jay?
Just can't manage two notes at once. It's a problem trying. So just practice is what's required. Some started off fine, but then lost it. So.
And what happens to you? Is it that your bow kind of like, is it from your bow or from your left hand, do you think?
It's from my left hand.
Ah, so does your finger touch the other string?
Well, I just don't get the two fingers in the right spot, so it sounds pretty bad. So,
Oh, so intonation.
yeah.
Okay, remember this there, Jay. Remember the power of finger pressure, okay?
Right.
It will bring you up. So sometimes people do have trouble with that, and the ones that have a finger for each note, like for instance the A1 and D3, you have to figure out which one is telling the truth, right? It's different when you have an open string one, then you can use that open string to tune your other note, right? But when you have the two finger one, you have to tune at least one of them first, and I always recommend the bottom one.
Okay.
So if you're having that problem, you just do a little quick back and forth between the two notes, see which one is your problem and tune it, and then try it again. And you should correct pretty quickly, you know. Because you're right, it is practice, but if you don't know how to practice it, you could bang your head against the wall for a long time with double stops.
Good. Thank you.
Good. Anybody else have any comments like that before we try it again? And I think this time when we try it, I think we'll do it like this. See that? We'll give that a little try, the two notes, so everybody has a chance to actually listen to them. All right? So let's try that again, guys. Double stops. And we're going to try each one. After you try the double stop, you're going to go back and forth a little bit. Okay? Here we go. A 1, 2, 3, and. Next one. We don't need to tune that really. Next one. Yeah. Okay, next one. Okay, next one. Last one. Now you see, here's an example of an out of tune one. So I'm pretty sure it's my D, but I'm going to check. Flat. Ugh. So now I'm going to press a little harder. In she comes. You hear that? And so I pressed harder with my third finger there, but I left my 2 alone. And it came right into tune. So let's try that one again. We're going to play that fourth. Okay, ready? Fourth. Little back and forth. Now we'll go down to the next one, the octaves. Oh, sorry. Don't need to tune those. All right. Now, did that work out going back and forth a little bit? Did that help anybody? Did, eh? Yeah, it's really, really good. Now, you don't have to do it for long. It didn't take me long to, start to anticipate these problems and be able to get them in tune right away. All right? Let's do that one more time, guys. One more time. Okay, here we go. Ready, and... more of that, sorry. Okay. Anybody having any problems that they want me to help them with? No? That's great. You know, you need a practice plan, really. It's all you need. So now, why don't we go right from one end to the other without going back and forth and see how you do. We're going to use it as a tester. Okay, see how you do. It'll give you a good idea what to work on. So here we go. Okay, open G. Ready? Now that looked really good. Much better. It looked more confident, like people were moving their bows a little easier. Okay? Any questions or comments about that one? I'm here to be questioned.
Again, any tricks or advice about getting the bow on 2 strings at once? What's our secrets there?
Okay, here's how you practice it. So, first of all, the common misconception about getting your bow on 2 strings at the same time is that you press down on the bow until the bow touches 2 strings. Okay? But that gives you nothing but a big, noisy crunch. What you have to do is you have to get your bow at the right angle to be on 2 strings at once. The way that they had us doing it in Suzuki, I thought was really the best way, is down bow on the G, and you move your hand like this and change strings until your bow is on both the G and the D, and then you continue your down bow until the end of the bow. Looks like this. You hear that belt out nice there? That was a nice one. I'm going to do it again. See, and when I get the right purchase on 2 strings, I speed it up and it really belts out nice. Okay? Here's the D to the A. See that? And you want to, when you're making your way to that next string, you don't want to hesitate with the motion of the bow. You keep that motion going. You get a nice strong double stop. Okay. Oh, Jay. Okay, I can see what's going on there already. And this could be true for everybody. So what I see is you're going like this, but your right arm is kind of going, making a nose dive, a swan dive, as it were. And it's dragging your bow over on you when you don't want it to. Okay? Watch me do it. No elbow at all. See that?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And the doorway might really help with that. I don't know if I talked about playing in the doorway, but my brother made me do it for a long time. It's where your elbow is just kind of in front of the door frame. This is my doorway.
Oh, yeah.
And then so if you do use it, you get a rub. And if you use it this way, you get a bump. See that? It really makes you do it this way instead.
Right.
Okay, that might help because a tiny move at elbow level makes the bow go a big move.
Yeah.
Okay?
Gotcha.
All right, now let's keep trying it there, guys. We're going to keep trying this down bow thing. So let's start again. We'll start on the G, and we'll kind of go over and join that D. All right, ready, go. Nice. Okay, now let's go D to A. Oh, that came out real good. Very good. Give it one more. Oh, there we go. See, the strings are rattling like they should. Now, A to E. Hardest one. Be gentle. Oh, that came out good though. Okay, everybody getting along okay doing that? Working? Good. Then you do it the other way. You start on E, you join A. On the up bow, little bit different challenge. See that? We'll do it again. We'll start on E, E to A, up bow. Yeah, nice belting there, Simone. I can see it. Yeah, okay. So that's the best way to start doing double stops. If you've never done it before, that's the way they had us doing it, and I really think it's the best way because you learn angle instead of this kind of pushing down thing, and you get the strings really coming out like they should. All right? Doing a bit of that before you do this double stop practice would certainly be a very good idea. All right? Let's do this double stop practice one more time after having done that exercise, and then we'll move on. Okay. Oh, hold on here. My hoodie's in the way. Okay. Here we go. Ready and... Whoops. All right. Okay. How's everybody feeling about double stops? Does anybody want to do one for me? No? That mute button, boy, is intimidating, I know, for sure. Okay, well that's great. So you have a good method to practice it now. You do a little bit of that down bow and join the next, and then try this double stop practice, okay? I'll let you try the other keys on your own, because I don't want to go through all that, because you'd want to play, when you're doing this, make sure you play a quick scale in the key that you're trying to do these double stops before you do them, especially if you're doing them in a row, because your hand will get used to the G shape, and then you jump into the A shape, and it's a little hard to get, so it really makes it easier if you just run up and down a scale successfully first. Then you can kind of get your hand around the key. And then the same thing for D, okay? Yeah, really good idea to do that. Anyway, so that's double stops. Is there any questions or comments or concerns or complaints about double stop practice or double stops in general at all? It's so forgiving with this bow, I'll tell you. Like, so easy to do with this bow.
My wife is not going to thank you for asking me to practice those.
Sorry about that. Just be gentle. Be as gentle, especially with the E. The other thing I'll point out, the A-E double stop, when you play the A and the E together, it's a little bit different than the rest. The E is tighter than all the other strings put together and has no winding. So any amount of too much force on it and it squawks at you like crazy. The other thing is, when you play the E string, your bow goes up and down like this, right? When you play the A string, your bow goes out like this, but the E, it's right up and down. So it's a special kind of touch that I use for that A-E one, all right? Very gentle on the A. Most of my weight is on the A, and I leave whatever's left over is plenty for the E, okay? And then it's just motion. That's the biggest way to stop all that screeching and squawking that Jay's talking about. Watch this. Here's a hesitant bow doing a double stop. See that? Here's a bow that moves. Like, even if it's not that good, it still is going to come out better. Just move it. Just put that gas pedal on. Okay? All right, jigs. So we got Jigaslers and Troy's Wedding, and it's a handful. I think we should start by just trying to play the whole set. Just see what happens. It'll be fun. Now I'm going to get this music up because I know we're working with session.org versions. What do we got here? Jacob Slurs. There it is. Now if you guys got this music, I'll stop sharing my screen so I can actually see you. It should be great. How do I do that? Where do I do that? Hide the thumbnail. Where's my stop share button? Oh, there it is. There we go. Okay. So let's see. We got Jig of Slurs. And then we got to open Troy's Wedding. And I need 2 copies of that because it's 2 pages. Okay, there we go. Usually put that right under. And Jacob Slurs. Okay, so we'll go nice and easy. There's no reason to be in a hurry at all. We'll go nice and slow and play the 2 of them, and then we'll see if we can do a little bit of speed trials with them. Get them a little bit faster and a little bit more comfy, hopefully. Okay. We won't go that fast. Let's say we go about this fast. Think that'll work? Everybody think that'll work for a tempo? Yeah? Let's give it a go anyway. Let's see what happens. So we'll do them 2 times each because they're 4-parters, and that's the rules. Here we go. Ready, and... go. One more time. Here we go. Whew! Marathon! My God. How's everybody doing with that? Yes, shake out that left hand, for God's sakes. My God. Okay, so everybody's bow looked just fine that whole time. Anybody having any problems? No? Nothing a few hundred times won't fix? That's good. So let's see, how fast do you think we can do it? We'll take a little breather. But anybody give me an idea? Can somebody play a little bit of the Jig of Slurs for me to show me kind of what tempo you've been playing it at? Give me a little idea where we can start from. Anyone, anyone?
Okay.
Yay!
Sucker bait.
Okay, all right. So that sounded pretty good there, Mel. Now,
Yeah.
you were fighting the intonation, and you fought a good fight.
Stop biting me, puppy. Get down.
Well, that doesn't help. You know, if a dog is biting you while you're playing, that's going to make it hard to play in tune.
He doesn't like the intonation.
That's right. It's really going to affect the intonation if you got a dog hanging off your ankle. Yes. My poor brother-in-law, Brian, he came from a family of 13 in Cape Breton. I thought our family was bad with 12, but he came from a family of 13, right? And he used to come to the house, and my dad would torture him and tease him. He was from Bernard, so he called him the water rat, right? And we had this dog called Fred, and Fred took a nip out of somebody once, just a little, a little one or whatever. And he would say, Brian would show up at the door, and Dad would get the supermarket flyer and say, Fred, any steak you want, just take a chunk out of that fella. Any steak you want. Anyway, okay, so the intonation you were battling was just this mechanical thing where she's coming up, eh? Yeah.
Yep.
So, and you could tell. So that's really kind of the first step, and it's just to relax back to place. Otherwise, that was pretty well as fast as we were playing it there.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to try it just a little touch faster than that. Good things about what you were doing, very good length of bow for all your notes. It's nice and consistently even, and that's really good. One of the dangers with this jig, especially Troy's wedding, where you have where you have that syncopated part where you're doing double notes. Double notes are notorious for speeding up. Okay? So I even noticed when we were playing it together, when we got to that part, I felt myself going like this. See that? Rushing them because they're two of the same, right? So you'll want to lengthen that bow just like you did there, Mel. Same length of bow for each note as best as you can. Okay? That was really good. So anyway, I don't see where we can't do it like this. Okay? And you're going to keep your helmet on, and if you get hit, just drop that comrade by the side of the road and keep going. Okay? Just keep going. Keep getting that gun back up and shooting at the Germans, all right? Here we go. A 1, 2, 3. we go. One more crack. Whew! All right. Now, who found it impossible to do the syncopation at that speed? Who got stopped by it? Mel and Simone, yeah, and Diana, yeah. It's hard. It's hard. And I remind you that when I was 11 or whatever and I learned this tune, I could not do that part. It took a little while to get it. What did get it for me in the end was starting it. Okay? Taking that part, the first two bars, over and over, whether I understood it or not. That's the thing. And when I got to a certain point where my hand learned it, I relied on my hand because I still didn't feel like I knew exactly what to do. But I would just let my hand do that first couple of bars and then off to the races. See what I mean? Muscle memory is a very big part of what we do, and I rely on it here and there quite heavily. See what I mean? And that's definitely an example there. So if you're having trouble with that part, that's how I would practice it. Start it. Start it 3 or 4 times. Just the first 2 bars. No more than that. Just the first 2 bars. Okay, I got to run to the bathroom. Next thing we're going to do is Huntington Castle. All right? And we already worked on G, so we should be in a good hand space for it. But just give me 1 sec.
Does anyone else have trouble seeing the small little notes that are written in Huntington Castle? Or rather the Warlocks, actually.
The dogs are really weird places. The doggy.
It's hard to see with the brown kind of sepia print that I have. It's hard even to see the quarter notes in a low version.
Even the
I'll have to
dog.
reprint it. I have to reprint it off the session.
But they're so tiny in Sandy's book. I was just commenting on the Warlocks. The notes, some of them are so
Oh,
tall.
the Warlocks, yeah.
That's from the Sky Collection, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's old. It's back when the reason that it's so tiny, I mean, you think this is bad. Check this out. This is a very famous book that everybody uses called 1,000 Fiddle Tunes. Everybody heard of this book? Anybody heard of this book? No? Oh my God. It's you have, Ross, of course. It's a must-have. And you would all love it. There's literally 1,000 fiddle tunes in here, right?
And where do I get it?
It's hard to get, but you can look at it for it online. Cranford Publications, Paul Cranford, in Nova Scotia. I think you can get it through him. And it's gone up since. It's 1,050 fiddle tunes now. It's been revised or something like that. But check this out. So this was done back in the late 1800s, and typesetting was a really kind of expensive thing in those days, time consuming, and the printing process, you didn't have much space to work with. So check out how they got the tunes in there. Check this out, man. See that? That's whenever you come across, and I'm sure you guys have come across versions that are 2 lines. And that's where it comes from, the 1,000 Fiddle Tunes book. In some cases, the accusation is that in some cases, they simplified the tunes so that it would fit on 2 lines, you know, from the original. But everybody uses this book, but it is really hard to read. It's like, the other thing I hate about it was this thing they did at the turn of the century, and I don't know why, which is writing everything out in 16th notes. You see that?
No, but I'll believe you.
See the double bar lines on everything there?
Okay.
Yeah, 16th notes. So it's supposed to be 2/4. Now technically that's more correct because when we play fiddle music, it really is a 2/4 feel for a reel because your foot's pounding the floor 2 times per measure. But way harder to read. You know, really hard to read. It was sometime in the early 1900s that they started using 8th notes instead, and I'm really happy they did. But if you look at the Sky Collection here, the Warlocks in the Sky Collection, it's the same typesetting, very small because they didn't have much room in those days. So it is kind of Bogalogan is really small.
When you sent out the music for Huntington and Warlocks, was it from Sandy's book? 'Cause
Yes.
That's what I'm using. Oh, okay.
It is from Sandy's book, so you can just go ahead and use that if you have Sandy's book, okay?
Yeah, dude.
It's on page 6.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. But that's the deal. That's why they're so small. It's a total pain, but, you know, at least we still have them. That's the thing. Oh, and the other thing is, some people are interested, that on the Warlocks, you see how there's a bass clef part along with it? That's actually was meant for cello back in those days, because in the Scottish tradition, fiddle and cello was a really big thing, and in fact, we did it too. My family did it too. See that? There's my brother Marty with the cello. So that's 3 fiddles and a cello. See that? And he went on to get a degree in cello at Memorial University as well. So, real Scotchy thing. Anyway, so we'll start off. I'll just play it for you, okay? A good couple of times. Get it ringing around your head, this beautiful tune in the key of E minor. And then we'll split it up into its phrases, and we'll have a crack at it. Okay? Yeah, Ross, right on, man. So I'm just going to mute everybody here. And I'll give a crack of this tune. See, there's my... That's better. Okay. right, so everybody following along with that okay? Thank you, Simone. Good. So now you can see it's not that hard, but it's hard. It's easy to play, but it's hard to really pull the emotion out of it like any slow air. You know, you got to make a nice sound and be in tune and all that stuff to really get the eyes watering. But if I was to think about the phrases of this tune, we'll take a look at the A part first, right? So we got this main theme. Now, to me, that's the most beautiful bit, is that opening. You go to that G, right, which is supposed to be in the key of E, G major, like G sharp. But you get that natural, and it's so beautiful. That's kind of the first phrase in my ear, and the second phrase is a modification. See that? It's an expansion on the first phrase, all right? And the two of them together, side by side, it's gorgeous. Back down you go. Do it again. This time, go all the way up. And then you're at the top of the scale there. The F sharp is at the top of the scale. And then we start coming down. Right down. And then we basically play the first phrase again, but with an ending. And Sandy always went like this. Little staccato notes at the end. Hey, Ross? He always played it that way with the nice staccato notes. And so we might do that just to honor him. So let's go over those phrases again. We got the main opening phrase. It goes up, but then down. And then we do it again, but this time, keep climbing up. All the way up. Then we come down. All the way down. First part, ending. And that's how it works. So let's everybody try we won't try the whole first part. Let's just try, say, the first two phrases where we end up on that high F sharp there. Okay? Okay. Ready, and... Up we go. So how's that feeling? So far, looks great. I forgot to mention that in Sandy's book, he has written in some slurs. Everybody see those slurs? Ignore those slurs, okay? Here's what it would sound like if I did it like that. And I don't remember Sandy playing it like this either. I was working with somebody on this earlier this week, and she remembers Sandy and took some lessons from him as well. And she's like, he didn't play it with all those slurs either. But we're pretty sure that it was a teaching tool, that he meant to use it to show people how to do things in one bow, I think. But don't do it. Here's what it would sound like if I did. It's not bad, but it lacks a little character and a little personality, you know? Especially since it's right through the whole thing. So let's not do that. We'll do mostly single bows. There are some slurs, but I'll talk about them later. They're mostly up bow, and it's where you see that quarter note followed by an eighth note type of thing. Let's try that first two phrases again, everyone. Ready, and... Keep going. Down we go. feeling? Everybody looks perf, but I want to check in. How's everybody feeling about that? It's good? Okay. So again, the challenge of a slow air is feeling confident enough to really move your bow, right? You want to pull these notes out. One thing my dad used to say about slow airs, and he used to be that was his strength with slow airs. And in fact, his record that he made, the one record that he made, Airs in Bloom, is mostly airs. And it's really beautiful. But he used to say that with slow air, it can get boring. You're playing these long notes and holding them for a long period of time, and you don't want it to get boring. You want each note to be an event. Each note should have a beginning, middle, and end. Okay? Now, if we use the longer notes in this tune to talk about that, it's easier than trying to do it to every note. But if I were to look at it like this. Now you see how that G had a little shape to it, a little arc. I sped up my bow halfway through and I added a little wiggle and then I trailed it off to give it a kind of a, like a story, like a run up and a climax and a denouement for each note, each important note. Everybody hearing how I do that? Yeah. And that's going to give you a lot of reward for yourself when you're playing it by yourself. Let's try that again, guys. First part. More bow, more feeling. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oh, yeah, everybody looks like they're having a blast. That's great. Very good. Now, the second part is the answer to the call, the response to the call. And it sounds like the response sounds very sad to me. It sounds like a negative outcome. See that? And it goes down the scale to even punctuate that even more. It just keeps going down. So I would kind of diminuate that, get a little bit softer as I go down. See that? And then the next phrase here is really the big climax of the tune. It's where the anger reaches the top. Or the sorrow, or whatever it is that they're trying, the poor Scottish guy. If he's Scottish, it's probably either anger or sorrow or both, Anyway, so that's the most explosive part. That's where I would be moving my bow like crazy. And I always, whenever there's a D sharp and then an E afterwards, I always play them together for a minute to make it even crunchier. See that? It's really, really nice. And then we got this kind of the relaxing of the whole thing, the climax. And again, I would do the same thing, gradually get a little softer as I come down that scale. And then we got the ending that we already know. And that's it. Okay, you get your check. So, first phrase. Second phrase, way more bow. then we start coming down. And then the guy realizes that's it, there's nothing for it. The resignation, as it were. Okay? And that's how the second part works. So let's try playing the first phrase and the second phrase. Okay? See if you can get them changes with your bow. Bring out the qualities. Okay. And that D pickup note I just love. Ready, and. Yeah, now you see, I really saw people's bows get moving for that part. That's great. That's really good. Let's do it again. Ready? And we're going to come down. Let's do it all again. Looking confident. The last, for everybody, the last note was on a down bow. I love that. Very, very good. Cool. So everybody getting the idea with that? With the kind of the arc of the phrases there and how it works? Yeah. You know, I was thinking during that second part, I was thinking about how it's very much like, I don't know if you guys saw this during the beginning of the pandemic, but there was a video going around and it was Hitler Needs a Pint. Have you ever heard of this video, anybody? Oh my God, it's so funny. So there's a movie called, what's it called? The Downfall. And it's actually in German, so it's the German name. I can't remember, Under something. Anyway, and it's a beautiful movie. It's very disturbing. It's set in the last night of Hitler's bunker at the end of World War II. And he's out of his mind, delusional. And people take the part where his generals are telling him that there's no more soldiers and that the Russians are on the door. And he doesn't believe it. And he's freaking out. And the actor is actually, he won an Oscar for it because nobody has ever portrayed Hitler in a movie. He was the first one to really actually do it. And he did an incredible job of a delusional maniac, just losing his mind altogether. But anyway, so people put superimposed different scenarios on this particular clip. And this one is Hitler's Irish, and he really wants to go to the pub during the pandemic. And they're telling him, he's like, they said, you know, oh, Galway, reduce the restrictions. So, and he goes, right, pint on Tuesday. And somebody says, no, it's not going to be like that. And he totally freaks out. He completely freaks out. At one point he said, I would drink a pint of Murphy's. Actually, I would drink a half a pint of Murphy's right now, you know? And he completely loses it. And then he kind of denouements. He kind of is like, he's very sad. And he's like, do you remember last Christmas? What a time. We were so hungover afterwards. It was beautiful. So this is very much like that little clip. If Hitler Needs a Pint, it's a great clip to watch. Anyway, so I've distracted you enough. Shall we try playing the whole tune with lots of feeling? Okay? Let's do it. What's the worst that can happen, right? Okay, here we go. And I'll tell you, you wouldn't play it much faster than this. I've heard it played faster, more like a Strasbass. Not a fan. It sounds like this. It's okay, but it doesn't do the job for me. I like her slow. So I wouldn't be playing her much faster than what we're about to do. Okay, here we go. Nice and full to and repeat the parts. Ready and. One more time. Beautiful. How are we feeling about Huntington Castle? Doing pretty good? Anybody have any questions or any comments or like that about it?
Dan, I'm reading out of Sandy's book. It's 20 years old. Was the version that you sent, which I did not print because I thought it was the same, is it exactly the same as the book?
It is exactly the same. It is out of the book. I scanned it out of the book.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, one thing though, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning as well, but these dots and dashes here, you know, that's in the music, like, it's a starting point. Everybody messes around like with those like you wouldn't believe. You know what I mean? They play them all over the place. And so, and you can also, I don't know if you heard the few different styles of how I was doing that. So you can do it straight. You can do it like this. like that, or you can do it right scotchy like this. See that? Very short and sharp, but you still, it's a trick, eh? Like you want to make sure you get that note really belts out, but it's very short and staccato, and it's really the pickup for the next note, okay? But the straight way is fine, which would be the way that they would do it in Scotland nowadays, would be more like this. See that? So not much of the snap in there, but still very nice. And for an air, it's also very nice and it blends well. So you can try out both ways and do it both ways. But yeah, so you might have heard me play some different dots and dashes there, and I can't seem to help it. I still switch them around even if I'm reading. It's just ridiculously too much time as a jazzer. Okay, but yeah, otherwise it should be exactly the same. Yeah.
There's some nice notes in the music there too, right?
Yeah, which you should feel free to put in. Just a few, yeah, and I do them, you know. In the ending. See that? Those are nice there. I put a few more in. I'm sure that you can hear that I rely on this double stop a lot in this tune, which is my go-to in E minor. That's E and B together, eh? And then I go like this for the ending. See that? That's a really nice way to wind it up there, okay? Yeah. Ooh, Ross is muting and unmuting, muting and unmuting, muting and unmuting. Hey, Ross, for some reason you're like muting and unmuting for a second there. I don't know why. It seems fine now. Any other questions? We'll talk more about ornaments next time because it's going to take you a week to figure out a few things that you'd like to do and want me to help you with in terms of that. But any other questions about this tune at all? I talked about the bowing.
You're throwing in a fair bit of tremolo in this one.
Vibrato, yeah.
Vibrato, yeah. I would like to spend a lot of time this coming year trying to learn how to do vibrato properly.
Oh!
On the slow airs. I have a lot of trouble with trying to get my left wrist from being kind of frozen.
You know what? Watch me do vibrato, Ross. Not a lot of wrist. I do. See, there's a few different kinds of vibrato, eh? And it depends on the person. I do finger vibrato. It's a very tight vibrato. It just uses my finger. And basically what I do is, the way that you do finger vibrato is, I roll back on the soft spot of my finger, and then I roll into the hard part over and over. See that? That's how I do it. Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Now, did I tell you guys about how I learned vibrato in Suzuki Camp? I didn't? Oh, I thought I did. Okay, maybe it was the orchestra.
No.
Oh, by the way, for orchestra members, I'm almost finished all the editing. I got 2 more tracks, and it'll be done. And the show is going to be on August 25th. That's when the streaming show is going to be. I'll send an email. Don't worry. I made a poster and everything. But anyway, so vibrato. So the way that I learned how to do vibrato in Suzuki Camp, I find to be the most accessible way for people to learn how to do it. Okay? The first thing is, well, like I was saying to Ross, there's 3 different kinds of vibrato. All right? There's arm vibrato, hand vibrato, and finger vibrato. Okay, and Simone, do you remember learning about this? Because you did a little bit of classical, didn't you, at some point? I mean, your hand looks like you did.
Yeah, I did, but I actually was never really like formally taught it. So I've also never really fully figured it out. So this is
Oh, okay.
helpful.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So anyway, so the three different kinds. The arm vibrato is very wide, and people often make fun of it, like, because, like, I'll see if I can demonstrate it. I'm terrible at it. That's the best I can get it happening. But you hear how wide that is? It's like, and so when you do vibrato, first of all, you never go sharp of the note. You only ever go flat of the note. Okay? So you go flat and in tune, flat and in tune, flat and in tune. That's how you do vibrato. That's the way it works. Okay? So first of all, there's the arm, and that's what it sounds like. And it gets a lot of flack, and I don't really blame people. It's annoying as hell, right? Then the next one is the hand, which is kind of like... not as wide, but still wide. See that? And then you get the finger, which is very tight. You hear that? It's not a lot of variation between the flat and the in tune. It's a small margin. That's what I prefer. I find it works really good for our music, because you got to remember that in the Scottish and Irish tradition, we use very little vibrato. Very little. It's always at the end of a note. So you play the note, and that's what I'm sure you heard me doing it. See that? Yeah. And it's kind of one of the dead giveaways when you have a violinist. I was talking to Adrian about this there, Janet. But when you have a violinist trying to play fiddle music, one of the dead giveaways is that they can't stop doing vibrato from one end of the eighth note to the other. How they do it, I don't know. My God. Like, even on an eighth note, they manage to vibrate it, eh? And it's one of the things when I go up to National Music Camp and hang out with my violinist friends there, they always marvel at how I can play a note with no vibrato in tune and hold it, and I don't mind. You know what I mean? So that's one thing to remember, is no vibrato and a little bit at the end. But anyway, back to the physics. So you got the arm. You got the hand and you got the finger. It's up to you which way you want to do it. In the Suzuki camp, they told us that many people start with the arm and then gradually refine it to a little small movement, which I think really is probably the best way to do it when you first start. Here's the most important thing about it, though. So I said you go flat of the note, right? And I just reduce the pressure on my finger, and then I bring the pressure back in so that I'm in tune. Reduce it, roll back to the soft part, bring it in, back in tune. Reduce, bring in, reduce, bring in. And at first, they made us do it 4 times per bow. See that? Okay, and after a while, when that started to get good, do you see how I was doing it in time? Like, you could set a metronome, and actually they had a metronome going. Ooh-wee, 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 ooh, like, just like that. See that? You do it in time over and over. Okay, so now they had us doing that endlessly. I've always felt bad for the poor teacher. 8:30 in the morning, a 10 or 12-year-old kids doing vibrato class. Can you imagine that? My God. So once you get that happening, you increase it to 6. See that? The fact that
your whole hand, though, not just your finger.
you're going to have to at first, and that's why I say that when you first start doing vibrato, you got to do a big movement. There's nothing else for it. You have to do it that way. As you practice it, you'll learn how to tighten it up.
Okay.
See? You try to minimize that movement, which, of course, you're a fiddle player. Hopefully, you're doing that all the time. Minimizing movement, trying to reduce the amount that you move. And so as...
Talk about hard and soft part. What do you mean, the middle of the finger as opposed to the side?
Yeah, so the front part of your finger is hard, right? And mine is as hard as a rock because of playing the fiddle for so many years. It doesn't even an iPhone anymore. I got to use this hand to do the iPhone. So the very front is very hard, and it's
So the top.
yeah.
The top
The top, the tip, yeah, it's very hard. And I use that, I'm a user of that because it gives me a reliable intonation. And then when you go back to the soft spot, you flatten. See that? And also, and you'll see that it's a much more unstable note. And so then you just go back to the hard part, back to the soft part, back to the hard part, back to the soft part. It's really hard to do it your third finger. It's the hardest. Okay? Second finger is actually easiest because it's the middle of your hand and you can really get rocking. See that? And that's what my dad used to do. He would play a slow air. He would never play an open string. It would be like this. See that? And that means you can play a D like your D string except with vibrato on it. See? So the first finger is not too bad. The second finger is easier. The third finger is the hardest. And nobody that I know really bothers with the pinky because they just go up to third position and use their second finger. Really get it rocking because the pinky is very weak. All right? So if you wanted to practice vibrato, this is the way I suggest it. Like that. And come down too. And as long as you can keep the bow moving consistently and do that timed move with your left hand, it will work. It will come together. Most people find the hardest part of it is moving the bow smooth. They tend to do it like this. And you want to breathe into that arm and just let it move. It's the best way to do it, okay? So now, all that is on video. I could talk about it for the next half hour. Remember, we did vibrato class every day for a week. That's how I learned how to do it. So it does take a lot of doing, but what I've showed you is the perfect way to start. So if this week you did a little bit of that before Huntington Castle, and then on a few of the long notes of Huntington Castle, just start shaking that finger, see what happens. Hopefully the training you do on the slow will help you along. Okay? Now let's do her one more time. Huntington Castle. You guys are going to try a little vibrato if you can. Try some grace notes if you can. Some double stops. And it's going to be so beautiful. It would bring a tear to a glass eye. Or as my dad used to say, it's enough to make an old Scottish lady go. Here we go. Ready and... That's lovely. So there you go. You got some nice work to do there this week, guys. And next week is just a bit of housekeeping here. Yeah, next week I'm out of town. I'm going to Nova Scotia. All right. Now we're leaving on the 4th, so I'm going to still try to run our class on the 5th because we're going to be going through Quebec. But if I can't, then I'm going to make a practice video. I did it for my beginner class when I surprisingly went up to a cottage and it was kind of sprung on us, so I made this class and everybody loved it. They thought it was great. One guy said he really liked it because I couldn't tell that he was swearing at me the whole time. So anyway, I will make a practice video of the jigs and like most of the stuff we've done, including the Huntington Castle and a couple of exercises. All right.
Can you do the Warlock? Can you do the Warlock?
Yeah, I'll throw the Warlock up there this week too. There, Mel, for sure. Okay. And then after that, though, whoops. After that, let's see here. So the 5th, the 12th is fine. The 19th is I think should be okay. And then after that, we're good. So just wanted to let you know about that because we're traveling out east and I'm hoping to get it all in. But this is my new challenge now that things are opening up, is doing my online life and a regular real life as well. So we'll see how it works out. And but if not, there will be practice videos. Okay?
Did you know the one that I sent you?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Nice.
It's
I really
beautiful.
like
The
it.
Sweetness of Mary. It's a great tune. We'll definitely have to get to that, Mel. That's another Sandy special. He used to love to play that tune too, The Sweetness of Mary. But anyway, so I'll put up Bogaloggin. I'll do put some other videos on YouTube. And if I don't see you next week, you'll see a video of me. Okay, guys?
Enjoy Nova Scotia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you later.